Time for Friday morning coffee with Justin from Elevation Homes. Justin, how the heck are you?
Doing good, Dave. Good morning. Yep, we're it's a little cloudier today, which is kind of good for camera, but I think we're in for some rain next week. So we're it's kind of our last day of barreling down on some of the landscape stuff we've been doing. So we're getting this done early.
And it's rain's needed, so yes, bring on the rain a little bit. We don't mind a few days.
Yeah.
Today,
It needs to happen. My grass is like a hayfield. So
today I want to talk about living in the city versus country living, because you do homes in both aspects. I know you did some work in Brantford, Hamilton. You have homes all over the place, and you've got that great place in Waterford that you're finishing up. And I want to just sort of clarify things. So when people move from the city, I mean, let's use Waterford. Waterford's a great example, waterford angling that you're working on.
Yes.
Explain, how do you break that down? Because there's a lot of differences. Suddenly you have to have a well, you have to have septic, you got all these little things that are different than the city. Talk to me about that. So how do you approach that when folks come in from the city to look at this place and use Waterford as the example?
So yeah, it's interesting because, we deal with, as a company, a lot of this where, people have, and COVID has exaggerated it extensively. And although it's slowed down the move to the country, we still have these questions come in all the time. People want to move out of the city, but I mean, I'm not talking like downtown Toronto. I'm talking about just, suburbia Brantford or Ancaster or wherever. And they want to move out into the counties and Brant counties, Norfolk counties, Oxfords, all these things. And it's the same but different. And I mean, you can set it up. You can set it up to be very city-ish, but at the end of the day, we have standalone, utilities that have to operate for these houses to sit in the middle of the cornfields that they're in. And a lot of people don't realize that these things actually exist. I mean, if you've grown up in a subdivision all your life, you just expect water to be there and you expect it to go back down the drain. Well, it doesn't quite work like that. It's a little bit. Now, I mean, the modern stuff is much better. I mean, I got to tell you, my wife, when we built the house in Waterford, my wife had no clue. I transitioned her right over. I made sure the equipment was up to par and modern so that she would not even feel the difference coming from West Brant, where we came from. But in terms of Angling Road, and it was even funny because even my investors don't get it. But I have all these bills for all these extracurricular things, new hydro runs and new septic tanks and new dug wells and then, all these little branch hydro sections that we need for the barns and all these extras. I mean, it's thousands. But a lot of people don't get that these things have to be set up and they're, not cheap, and they have to be equated into your build price, your rental price, whatever you're doing when you move into the country. Now, the bonus is that it's kind of for the most part, it's a one-time shot. So once they're installed, you're freestanding. I mean, you don't pay these bills again. You pay to empty a septic, but I mean, they're 3 or 4 years in between, right? Once we're tapped into the Earth's water source, I mean, you're good. I mean, you got equipment to maintain, but I mean, you're no longer paying for supply and waste to the city. Your septic is your own deal. You have a lot more control on a standalone country setup than you do in the city. I mean, you're dictated in the city by whatever the utility company wants to charge.
Well, just even, folks probably look and go, what's that? And you're explaining that's a septic bed and where the runoff goes and what it does and how it goes back into the ground. But I mean, I always thought it was amazing when, I remember the first time I had to redo a septic tank and digging that up and just seeing how everything worked and understanding it better. But I think people need to, you're educating them as you go. Like you said, when you're moving in, the great part is you got lots more room, more privacy. Right. There's so many more benefits that I enjoy in rural life that I think are important aspect for me. And just that comfort zone that it creates, right? Having that open space for yourself. And some people just need that. And if you're coming from the city, it can be a big change, right? It can be a big change.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And and a lot of people don't even, they've grown up in town all their lives. And believe me, I've grown up in I've had a life in every type of situation right from the hardest core downtown city life to all the way out to, what I prefer out here, the farms and it's can be a big transition. And sometimes you don't even know you need it until it's happened. So it's definitely something you don't want to ignore it, because if you feel a lot of frustration, and I mean, we've built places for customers that, didn't even realize it's something they wanted to do, but they didn't even realize the level of impact it would have on their health and their well-being after they did it. I mean, it was like, what the hell did I do for 25 years?
Ain't that the truth?
I've literally had people with like anxiety in the mental health range.
Yeah.
Make the plunge, move out to a place like Angling, like what we're building, that has, it has the serene spaces, it has the room for the kids, it has the privacy, and the anxiety just within a month, it just drifts away, and they've never been that way ever again. And what they never realized is it was the hustle and bustle, which some people thrive on.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't bother me. But other people, all their lives, they don't know any better. But that hustle and bustle builds on them, and they have no outlet on it. And then, so I mean, it's an amazing thing. And I must even say, like, my wife's from Scotland, and where they lived in Scotland was a very rural little village, just near the edge of the Highlands. And she grew up that way. But when they came to Canada, it was amazing how much she lost that as a kid. She became insanely dependent on the systems and the conveniences and things like that.
Yeah.
And it took me 10 years to get her out here, right? But I can't. I mean, I couldn't pry her away from the dirt now. It's just because it was the same realization for her, is that what she had as a kid came back. And now she's like, no, I can't do it. And this is not knocking. And I'm not saying, there's a good chance I will end up back in a suburb at some point in my life before I have my final house in the country that we love this house we're in, but I got a dream house that I want to build before I'm dead, and it might take moving back into the city, save up some more cash before we can come back out. But for right now, I mean, this place is serving us well.
It's what you said too. And, here you are sitting in your country home, and we're making videos. Obviously there's a lot of stuff, a lot more available in the rural outlets now, like internet, right. Like that you can sort of have that feel of still the city, but you're able to, like you said, walk out your back door and just watch the deer run by. I mean, those are the types of things I think I agree with you 100%. More mental health issues would probably be resolved if folks had a little more space in their backyard just to go play, right? And that's critical,
because we're densifying everything, which
right?
Is neat, right, but if you're in a spot where, and this is not going to be, unfortunately, it's not going to be true for everybody, but I mean, hey, we've made some low income stuff happen in the country too. So I mean, don't ever discount the fact that you make a lesser amount than your neighbor. It's definitely something you still can investigate, because we've built some under 1,000 square foot, a lot more builder basic homes, but on a half acre of land, and you get the same effect. So this is not for the rich and famous kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, out here, I mean, I'm out sitting, it's a summer morning. I'm out sitting in my back screened in porch, and I mean, this is. If I do this for 15 minutes in the morning, that's all the relaxation I need for a week. It's just, this settles you back down so you can go out and I'll barrel all the stuff that I've got to deal with. And Angling Road, to be honest with you, is one of those places. It actually, it makes me jealous of it that it's not my house in some ways, because out the back of that place, the conditions in the environment, the elevation, the tree line, the creek, everything that's sitting back there at 6 a.m. in the morning when the sun's coming up, it is a cottage lifestyle 10 minutes from the city of Brantford that it's almost unduplicated. I mean, there's probably maybe 20 or 30 properties in this area that can even say they have, you know, a setup like what we have. And we've just got lucky with it. It's just developed that way as far as our new build at Angling Road. So it is actually not listed right now, but it is still for sale because we kind of took it down to finish dressing it up. And now that it is 90% complete, we're just waiting on the kitchen and we're doing grading. If anybody wants to come see this place, give me a DM or give me a shout or you know, message Dave and he can get a hold of me because I mean, this place is something you definitely want to walk through. And if you got to come here at 5:30 in the morning to experience the morning thing, I'll meet you there.
Yeah, we'll put your number down below on the screen so that folks can see it and give you a shout. But I do, and that's the perfect example for the conversation we had today. And I appreciate you taking the time to do that. I think I agree with you 100%. I think, you know, it's that getaway, right? It's that peace of mind, like you said. You need to be able to just unload and refocus, and away you go. And a country living provides that all the time. I live in the country, and I enjoy it thoroughly for those reasons, like you said, exactly the same. It's just being able to reestablish what you want to get done, and that's a good way of doing it. We don't put enough care into our own minds and bodies, and the proper house will help you do that. I'm 100%. I agree with you that way, 100%, because that sort of makes life a little bit easier. And you know, angling's the perfect example of that, of what you could have. Just outside the city. Like you said, if you're working in Brantford, you're still 25, 30 minutes away. Not bad. 20 minutes to work is on nice roads is pretty nice for a change. That's for sure.
And like you just said, I mean, because 18 minutes of that 20 minutes is some of the nicest driving roads you're ever going to have.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, and this exists all over Ontario, all over the world, all over the US. I mean, and you know, there's stuff to be taken advantage there for, you know, strictly for, you know, your health, your family, all these things. I mean, you know, the air is better out here, but you know, and again, I'm not knocking the city. There's so many great things about city life that I miss. But I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm given a preference, it's definitely going to be this way. And because we have all these modern amenities, like, you know, we have Rogers Fiber, like we have amazing satellite internet now that, I mean, allows us to do this, and you know, and we're out in the boonies kind of thing. So you know, the sense of community with our small towns, you know, all these things contribute to, you know, your environment, your mental state. So I mean, if you're cramped up and you feel like, you know, things are a bit tight in your life and all the rest of that, I mean, it's something to investigate, whether you renovate a great place, you buy a new place, we build you another place. It's something you definitely want to experience. I mean, I'm sitting out here with the crickets, the cats are over here and they're not even bothering, but you because it's time, right? It's time for them to eat their breakfast. But it is, it's actually enabled the expansion of my company, because I get these 10-minute things out back, and I can reset for 10, and that's all you need. You don't need to just spend, you know, 30 hours out here vacationing, looking at stars and things like that, although it's pretty cool. Yeah. But 10 minutes to reset without any noise, without anybody else, and you know, and the tree lines and the fields, and you know, and the most amount of noise that you get is the tractor starting, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the other part, the other part we should bring up is pets. What a great opportunity if you have an animal, dog or a cat, like you said. I mean, we're pet owners, obviously, and we enjoy that aspect, to give them their freedom too. You got the space. Give me a little bit more detail on angling, because I've kind of forgotten. It's like a 3-bedroom split. Yeah. So it's again, we've been plugging away on this one. It's not been a major rush because it's real close to my place, and you know, we're finally tidying it up, and it's come together so well. You know, mostly because we haven't pushed on it. I mean, it's been something we've been able to, thank God, take a bit of time on and do every detail the way we wanted it to. But so it is it's a black and white tuxedo modern farmhouse.
It's about 2,300, almost 2,400 square feet,
Perfect
not
size.
including. The basement is half out of the ground, so I mean, really large 4-foot windows, and we framed out the room spaces down there. Now it's not being sold as a finished basement, but it certainly can be negotiated. But we've got another 3-bed downstairs.
Oh, wow.
And another full bath. So at the end of the day, that house, I mean, where how it sits currently is there's 3 second floor, super generous bedrooms. We could have gone smaller. We could have gone to a 4, but we really did this, following this country retreat thing, giving people a lot of nice space. The master bathroom and the master bedroom are like absolutely enormous, and there's no lack of there's no lack of space there. You've got lots of room. You swing a cat if you have one, and the two smaller bedrooms are again not small, a good 30% bigger than what most people are used to. And then downstairs we have an amazing bonus room that can be converted to a main floor bedroom. Right now it's kind of set up to be formal dining or the most amazing office space you've ever seen. The room's got 10-foot ceilings. The windows go floor to ceiling, and they look out onto the front yard. Big wide open concept kitchen, which is it's going to be a 2-tone. It's going to be insane. It's super cool sage green cabinets, a solid walnut island, and then quartz countertops. And then we have this giant family room area that looks out onto the tree line, which is elevated. So, I mean, there's custom staircase in there. The garage is fully man caved out, polished floors, fully insulated, pot lights, the complete drywall. I mean, I'm talking like the garage is no garage. We built it to be a full man insulated door. And, everything is, there's plenty of windows in there. You feel like you're really you haven't left the inside. I mean, it is really cool. And then we have a little renovated barn that we've, and it's quite a nice little storage shop over there. That's got in-floor heating. It was an existing barn, but we renovated it. It's 16 by 24. And we're going to have a big hoop around driveway. I mean, the list goes on. The back, we have 2 rear decks that overhang the tree line. The front porch is, directly centered over the summer sunset. So when that thing's coming down, you're looking right into the globe. So, I mean, I could go on forever about these. We got no neighbor to the rear, no neighbor to the left, and some amazing neighbors to the right with a bunch of kids. So this thing is, it's listed at 1.35, well, will be. And if you're in West Brand and you have one of these homes that have, appreciated and gone up to near $1 million, you are technically in the range of doing something like this almost as a straight swap. And a lot of people don't realize that if they've paid down their mortgage since they moved into West Brand or into Ancaster or into Hamilton Mountain, it sometimes doesn't equate that, like, if they're in a good spot in their lives, they're 40, 50, 30 years old, whatever they are, you've probably paid that down to where you could swap that, even with mortgage rates being what they are, and end up almost in an identical payment plan to what you're at, but have a lifestyle that's improving 200%.
By the sounds of the basement too, you could almost make it a granny suite generation home. You got lots of room there.
That's why we left it open book, because it's rained, but there's more than enough amenity down there to do a complete granny suite, like with a storage room, a full kitchen, like it's all there. And it was all purposely done. And the engineering, I mean, this is a smart home too, I should mention that. So the engineering in all the way from, floor trusses, all the way up to the roof, our heating and HVAC systems, we have a twin heating and HVAC system, everything, the electrical panel, everything in this place is to just showcase that exactly what the whole show is about, is that this is as modern as a home as you could possibly get. And it's basically standalone. I mean, it can heat itself. We have hydro come in from the road, and we have some supplementary propane tanks that are hidden behind the other barn, but they're just supplementary because most of the system works off hydro, and all these systems work in conjunction, and even the HRV talks to the other two HVAC units to make it. I mean, you won't know. I challenge someone who's been a city liver all their life to figure this out, that it would be much of a change, because this thing is going to be turnkey. It's an automated house. It's going to work itself. Excellent.
Yeah. I'm glad we had an opportunity to talk about this, because I've been wanting to do a show on this, but there you are, folks. So they can get a hold of you. The number's below if they're interested in angling.
Yeah.
And go see it. I mean, I've been lucky enough. You showed me some photos as you were building it, and I was impressed. I think it's the perfect kind of rural setting that fits a lot of needs and a lot of folks.
And we're in this place is, I mean, it's ideal because we're still, I mean, if you want that small town life, but just, I mean, it is only 3 minutes outside of waterfront. Yeah. I mean, in town waterfront, I love. I mean, the community that we've got going on in there is, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, and I can't tell you how it is until you get here.
It's warm. It's a warm community. You always feel welcome there, and they've got some great stuff going on. I have a lot of friends over in Waterford, and it's a great area to live in for sure. And the ponds aren't far. It's nice. Yeah. It's very nice.
In the antiques, I mean, all these little niche things that these small country towns have to offer that just don't exist anywhere else. But it's really that close. It's bike rideable into town from here, and it is. Like I said, it's 18 minutes back to Brantford, and angling's just an example. At the end of the day, these things could be applied to any of the properties that are up for sale in and around Norfolk, Hamilton, and I mean, angling is a great example of it. And I urge people just to come walk through it, even if you have $0 in the bank, but you just want to see what this is all about. I mean, feel free. If I'm home, I'll walk you through. I mean, I'll walk you around the place just so you can get the feel and the differences of what this can do for you.
And I'm going to leave you with that, but I want you to think about something for the next show.
Sure.
I have this tremendous urge whenever I drive by a really old stone house. I'm like, oh man, I want to talk about that, renos, and what you could do. And just because I always look at them and go, oh, you could probably pick that up pretty cheap, but the amount of money you'd have to spend to fix it. I mean, not necessarily fix it, but to renovate, right? And to sort of bring it back. I want to talk a bit about that on the next show. Thanks for doing this today, Justin. I greatly appreciate it.
No problem.